Hi everyone, so in this video I'm going to show you how to crochet this little girl's cardigan. So this cardigan can be made in a number of different sizes, and for all of the information on how to make the different sizes, please see the description box below. So thank you very much for watching, and please make sure to subscribe to my channel for more crochet videos. So to begin your cardigan, you want to start off by making a slip knot. So to do a slip knot, take your yarn and take your finger and wrap the yarn around your finger once and then twice. Then take the first loop and pull it over the second loop, and then take the second loop and pull it all the way over your finger. You then want to take your crochet hook, go in through this space and pull tight. And there you have a slip knot. And now once you have your slip knot, we are now going to make our foundation chain, and we are going to chain 55. So chain 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 55. So I have just finished making my foundation chain of 55, and now we are ready to move on to round 1. So round 1 is just a simple round of double crochet. So we're just going to do 1 double crochet into every single chain, and we're going to do our first double crochet into the second chain from the hook. So here is the first chain from the hook, and here is the second chain, and you want to yarn over and go down into this second chain, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through the final 2 loops on your hook. So there we have 1 double crochet into that chain, and now yarn over and go down into the next chain and do the same thing into this one, and then do 1 into the next chain as well. And just keep doing this all the way along, 1 double crochet into every single chain. So I have just finished working that all the way along for round 1, and at the end of this round you should have 54 double crochets, and I would recommend just quickly going back and double checking that you do have 54, and if you do, we're ready to move on to round 2. So to begin round 2, you want to chain 1 and turn, and this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So to start off this round, we're going to yarn over and go down into this very first stitch here and do 1 double crochet, and then do 1 double crochet into the next stitch, so into the second stitch, but then into the next one, so the third stitch along, we are going to do 2 double crochets both into this stitch. So yarn over and go down into the next stitch and do 1 double crochet, and then go back down into the same stitch again and do a second double crochet. So there we have 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, and we're going to repeat this all the way along for round 2. We're going to do 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2 all the way along. So yarn over and go down into the next stitch and do 1 into this one. So there we have 1 double crochet into that next stitch, and now go down into the next one and do 1 into this one, and now into the next stitch do 2 double crochets both into this next stitch. So there we have done 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets again, and we're just going to keep repeating this all the way along. So I have come to the end of round 2, so I have finished working that all the way along, and you should find that you work 2 double crochets into this last stitch at the very end, and at the end of this round you should have 72 double crochets. And if you do, we're ready to move on to round 3. To begin round 3, chain 1 and turn. And round 3 is very similar to round 2, but in round 2 we did 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, and in round 3 we're going to do 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets. So we're doing 3 double crochets, 1 into each stitch, then 2 double crochets into the next stitch, all the way along. So we're going to go down into this first stitch here, as our chain 1 did not count as a stitch, and do 1 double crochet, and then we're going to do 1 into the second one along, and then 1 double crochet into the third stitch. But then into the next one we're going to do 2 double crochets, both into this one. And now we're going to repeat that again. Do 1 double crochet, 1 into the next, and 1 into the next, and then do 2 double crochets, both into the next stitch. So there we have 1 1 1 2, 1 1 1 2, and we're just going to repeat this all the way along. So I have finished working that all the way along for round 3. So I have done 2 double crochets into this last stitch at the end, and at the end of this round you should have 90 double crochets. And now we're ready to move on to round 4. So to begin this round, chain 1 and turn, and this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So round 4 follows the same pattern, but in this round we're going to do 1 double crochet into 4 stitches, and then 2 double crochets into the next. So we're going to do 1 1 1 1 2, 1 1 1 1 2, all the way along. So start off by doing 1 double crochet into each of the first 4 stitches, 3 and 4, like that. So there we have 1 1 1 1. So now into the next stitch do 2 double crochets, both into this one. And we're just going to keep repeating that all the way along. So there I have finished round 4, and I have done 2 double crochets into this last stitch at the end, and at the end of this round you should have 108 double crochets. And now we're ready to move on to round 5. So to begin this round, chain 1 and turn, and round 5 follows the same pattern, but in this round we're going to do 5 double crochets, 1 into each stitch, and then 2 double crochets into the next one, then 5 more double crochets, 2 into the next, 5 2 5 2, all the way along. So start off by doing 5 double crochets, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So there we have 1 2 3 4 5 double crochets, 1 into each stitch, and now into the next stitch here we're going to do 2 double crochets, both into this one. like that. So we have 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, and we're going to do that again. So do 5 more double crochets, 1 into each stitch. Like that, and then do 2 both into this next one. And just keep repeating that all the way along for round 5. So I have just finished working that all the way along for round 5, and at the end of this round you should have 126 double crochets. And now we're ready to move on to round 6. So to begin round 6, chain 1 and turn, and round 6 follows the same pattern again, but in this round we're going to do 6 double crochets, 1 into each stitch, and then 2 double crochets into the next one, all the way along. So we're doing 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, all the way along. So go down into this first stitch here and do 1 double crochet, and then do a second one into the next stitch, and a third into the next, and keep doing this until you have 6. Like that. And then into this next stitch here, do 2 double crochets, both into this one. So there we have 6 double crochets, then 2 into the next, and just continue this all the way around for round 6. So I have just finished working that all the way along for round 6. So I have done 6 double crochets, then 2 into the next, all the way along, and I have one last stitch to work into here, and I should work 2 double crochets into this last stitch at the end. But I'm not going to do that. We need to just work 1 double crochet into this very last stitch. So I have done 6, 2, 6, 2 all the way along, and then I have done 6 double crochets at the end, and then instead of working 2 double crochets into this final stitch, we're going to yarn over, go down into this stitch, and just do 1 double crochet. And that will mean that at the end of this round we will have 143 double crochets, and that is the number that we need to have. So it's really important that you go back and double check that you do have 143 at the end of round 6, and if you do, we are ready to move on to round 7. So we are now on to round 7. And in this round, we're going to be adding in our cardigan shape. So we're going to turn our big loop, which we have here, into a cardigan shape. So to do that, we're going to work along a certain number of stitches for the first half of the front, then skip a number of stitches for the armhole, work a number of stitches for the back, skip another number of stitches for the other armhole, and then work along to more stitches for the other half of the front. And that is how we are going to add in our cardigan shape. So to start off, you want to chain 1 and turn, and this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. And we're going to begin by working 21 double crochets. So you want to do 1 double crochet into each of the first 21 stitches, and that is going to create the first half of the front. So go down into this first stitch here and do 1 double crochet, and then do 1 into the second one, and the third, and just keep going until you have 21. So I have just finished working those 21 double crochets, and that has formed the first half of the front of our cardigan. And now we are ready to move on to the first armhole. So for this armhole, you simply want to skip 30 stitches. So count 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 30. So I have counted up to 30, and this is my 30th stitch. So we're going to skip this one and then into the next stitch here. So this would be our 31st stitch. We're going to do a double crochet. So yarn over and go into this next stitch, so the 31st one. Pull your work together and work a nice neat double crochet like that. And there we have formed our first armhole. And I would recommend that you quickly go back and just double check that you do have 30, so that you did skip 30 here. And now we're ready to move on to the back. And the back of our cardigan is 41 stitches long. So we have just done one here, so we need to do 40 more. So do one double crochet into the next one, and one into the next, and just keep going until you have 41 in total. So I have finished doing those 41 double crochets for the back. So this is what you should have. And now we're going to move on to do our next armhole. And we're going to do the same thing as before and just skip 30 stitches. So count 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 30. So here is my 30th stitch. And we're going to skip this one and then into the next one. Yarn over and go down into this stitch, so this would be our 31st stitch along, and do a nice neat double crochet. So kind of pull your work together when you do these double crochets so that it's nice and neat. And now to finish off this round, we're just going to do double crochets all the way along to the end, and you should find that that is 21 in total with the one that you just worked. So just continue to work double crochets to finish off round 7. So I am just coming to the end of round 7, and I have one double crochet left to work at the end. And whilst doing this double crochet, I am actually going to change colours. So I want the rest of my cardigan to be in all different colour stripes. So I'm going to change colours at the end of each round, and then I will have my new colour ready to use for my next round. So what you want to do is yarn over and go down into the final stitch just as you would with a normal double crochet. And just start this double crochet as you normally would, but then stop here right before the last step. So we would usually yarn over and pull through these 2 loops, but we're not going to do that. We're going to drop the yarn that we were using and then take our new yarn. So I'm going with a pink, place it over the end of our crochet hook and pull it through. And then we have finished the double crochet and the round and changed colours at the same time. So now you can fasten off, so cut the yarn that you were using, leaving a tail to weave in or work over later. And we're ready to move on to round 8. So we are now on to round 8. And to begin this round, you want to chain 1 and turn. And I'm using my new colour here. And we're going to start off this round by working 1 double crochet into this first stitch. So yarn over and go down into the very first stitch, and I'm going to be working over my ends from where I changed colours to save me weaving them in at the end. So work 1 double crochet down into this first stitch, and now we're going to work 3 double crochets into the next stitch. So yarn over and go into this next stitch here and do 3 double crochets all into this one. So 1, 2 and 3. And like I said, I am working over these two ends from where I changed colours. And now you want to skip 2 stitches. So skip 1 and 2. And then into the next stitch, do 3 double crochets all into this stitch. And then skip 1, 2, then do 3 double crochets into the next stitch. Skip 2 stitches and just continue this all the way along. We're going to do 3 double crochets, skip 2 stitches, 3 double crochets, skip 2 stitches, all the way along for round 8. So I'm just coming to the end of round 8, so I have worked that all the way along, and you can see we're getting our pretty granny square pattern here, so our granny stripe pattern. So I have done 3 double crochets, then skip 1 and 2, and then we're going to do 1 double crochet into this very last stitch at the end. But whilst doing this double crochet, I'm going to change colours again. So stop before the last step, drop the yarn that you were using, take your new yarn, place it over the end of your hook, pull it through, and then cut the yarn that you were using. So when you cut your yarn, make sure that you leave a nice long tail that you can work over or weave in. And now we're ready to move on to round 9. To begin round 9, chain 1 and turn. And now we're going to yarn over and go down into this very first stitch here, so the last double crochet from last round, and do 1 double crochet, and I am working over my ends again here. And now we're going to go into this first space, so where we skip 2 stitches at the end of last round. So yarn over and go down into this space and do 3 double crochets. So we're going to do 3 double crochets all into this last space at the end, like that. And now we're going to move on to the next space. So yarn over, skip all of these stitches and go into the next space and do 3 into this one. And we're just going to do that all the way along. Into every single space, do 3 double crochets. So I am just coming to the end of round 9. So I have done 3 double crochets into this last space here. And now we're going to finish off by doing 1 double crochet into the last stitch at the end. And make sure that you do not work into this tiny space here. This is not a space, as we did not skip the 2 stitches. So you're only working into the spaces where you skipped 2 stitches. So yarn over and go into the last stitch at the end and work 1 final double crochet, and I'm going to change colours at the same time. Like that. And now we're ready to move on to round 10. So we are now on to round 10. So to begin this round, you want to chain 1 and turn. So chain 1 and turn. And we're going to do 1 double crochet down into this first stitch here, like that. And now we're just going to do the same thing as last round. We're just going to do 3 double crochets into every single space. So here we have a space here. So do 3 double crochets into this space at the very beginning. Like that. And now we have a space here. So do 3 into this one, and I'm working over my ends again, and just do this all the way along. 3 double crochets into every single space. So I am just coming to the end of round 10. So I have done 3 double crochets into this last space here. And now we're going to yarn over, go to the very last stitch at the end and do a double crochet, changing colours at the same time. Like that. And now we can fasten off the yarn that we were using. So I'm going to cut this grey yarn, leaving a tail to work over and weave in later. And now we're ready to move on to the next round. So we are now on to round 11, and for the rest of the length of our cardigan, we are just going to repeat rounds 9 and 10 again and again and again. So we have just finished round 10, so now you want to do round 9 again, then 10, then 9, 10, 9, 10, until you get the length cardigan that you want. And those 2 rounds are pretty much the same thing. And you can go back in the video and re-watch those rounds as many times as you need to. So just start each round with chain 1 and turn, then double crochet into the first stitch, and then do 3 double crochets into every single space, and finish off with a double crochet and change colours at the end. So just keep repeating those 2 rounds until you get to the very end. So I have finished working lots of repeats, and then when I got to the end, I fastened off and weaved all of my ends nice and securely into the inside. I then added a single crochet border all the way around. So I just did 1 single crochet into every single stitch and 3 single crochets into each of the 4 corners. So here, and then down in each of the 2 corners at the end, I did 3 single crochets. And then I added 2 buttons at the top and made some little button loops using chains, and I have finished. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it easy to follow. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel for more crochet videos. And in the description box below this video, I will leave a link to where you can find my Twitter account. So if you would like to go and follow me on there, I always like to post updates and pictures of upcoming tutorials, and I would love to see photos of your crochet work on Twitter as well. And in the description box, I will also leave a link to where you can find some of my written patterns if you are interested. And thank you again for watching. Bye.